The beginning, when you're a business owner, it's a little scary because you really don't know if people really want it.
No.
Like even if you have some validation, you're like, I don't know.
I remember I took one to an influencer that summer. Like I knew there was an influencer in our area. I dropped it off. My son was like 5. I made him run it up to her. And then she came outside, which was like my worst nightmare. I didn't want to see her in real life. So she came outside. I was like, thank you. And I was like, spread the word. And so anytime we
our oldest son, Owen, he's 9. He brought it up to me last week. He's like, isn't that the place where mom said spread the word, and just started giggling?
Because I drove away and I was like, that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
Yeah, we all have Michael Scott moments.
Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mark Goldheart. Mark, how are you doing today?
Great. Wonderful.
Good.
Yep.
Always the same response.
It is. It's great. Great to be alive.
It is good to be alive. It's a good day in Utah. We were just talking to we've had like a cold front, which has been nice.
Yep.
For us.
We have.
Yeah.
But I went fishing over the weekend with 3 kids, and each of them caught a really big fish. So
nice. Very nice.
I think I'm on a lucky streak right now.
Did you catch one?
No, I didn't try. We had the 3 reels up for the 3 kids.
And then you were just managing.
I was managing the reels.
So just one parent on 3 kids.
Yes.
Fishing.
I'd say that's pretty successful.
I'd say so.
We were there for 1 hour.
Oh, really? Nice.
1 hour, 3 18-inchers. And
catch and release, or did you keep them?
No, we kept them.
Nice.
We're cooking them up tonight.
Sweet. Very nice. Trout?
Which isn't like the best tasting fish, but get some bacon, some onions, and
reap the rewards.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can make it taste good.
Yeah. Probably. I don't have much experience with trout.
You got to use bacon, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people just use like some herbs and some like lemon. It's like, oh, still so fishy.
I don't like fishy taste.
Bacon.
Well, I'm excited for
Bacon fixes a lot of things in life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our podcast today.
Me too.
We've been wanting these guys on for a minute, and we finally got them in
Arizonians.
Town. Yeah. Is it Arizonians?
I would call us Arizonians.
Okay.
Arizonians.
Arizonans, I think, is the correct term.
I never use it.
But yeah, you finally reeled us in.
Yeah, we finally got you guys. We had to pay you guys a lot of money.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Negotiating that contract took a bit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, finally. Well, we want to welcome Noah and Kelsey Cook. They are the co-founders of Learning with Kelsey. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Excited.
Like I said, we've been wanting to do this for a minute, and it just has never been able to line up. And luckily, you guys come out to Utah and
now we're here.
And
worked out perfect.
Now we're here. We've been so we've been working with you guys for
18 months.
Yeah, how old
because
are
I
you?
always
18
say
months?
you are the age of my youngest baby.
That's
I had
always
my
nice
first
when
call
you have
with
like
you.
a...
Yeah, I had my first call with you 2 weeks before he was born.
Whoa.
That's cool. In my mind, I was thinking it was longer than that.
No, you're
It's easier
crushing
for
it
us
in
to
18
remember
months.
than you guys, though. So yeah,
What's that?
it's easier for us to remember because
Yeah, that's a good
we
point.
started with you guys
Okay.
after Archie was born.
Nice.
Before.
That's awesome. Yeah, so we've been working with you guys for a minute, and it's been... How did we connect? Remind me how we connected.
So I had seen your TikToks.
Okay.
I think either TikTok or your Reels.
Okay.
And I sent them to Noah, and I was following you. And then...
Well, I also followed you on Instagram.
Okay.
So you're
It was
famous.
So you guys were
In other
following
words,
me
separately.
Okay.
Yes. And then I was like, hey, Noah, I think I'm just going to message him and see if we could just meet with him. And I emailed you. And actually, I think I sent a request. And then you didn't ever respond to me. And then we started doing a lot of things. And then in middle of October, you were like, hey, I totally missed this.
Oh, okay.
Can we get on a call? And I was like, all right, we'll just get on a call. I'm like, no, you want to just do it? And then we were sold.
History.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's awesome.
Best decision we ever made.
But it was good timing because had you have emailed me earlier, I think we were in a weird mode where we were trying to do all these moving from different warehouses. It was kind of crazy. So it was perfect timing.
Yeah. So tell, let's give everybody the little background on what is Learning with Kelsey. Give us a spiel. Give us a spiel on you.
My quick spiel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I taught kindergarten and 3rd grade. And then I stayed home and taught preschool out of my house when my first baby was born. And after COVID happened, I had to close preschool. And obviously I was so sad because I love teaching. And so I'm I put packets together for my preschoolers of all the things that we would have done in preschool, like our activities, our worksheets, whatever. And I put them out on my porch and the moms would come get them. And mom started just like posting about them. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just create an Instagram, because also I was trapped at home with 2 little boys. I was like, I'll create an Instagram. I can
Noah,
post about this. And Noah, 3 little boys. No kidding.
There you go. 3 boys.
And so I started posting about it, and more people were like, hey, could you leave one out for me, like in my neighborhood? And I was like, okay. So I made more. And then I'm like, okay, I think I could sell these for $15. I was like, $15. Oh, yeah. I sold 10 of them. I was like, this is crazy.
Nice.
Because preschool, I charged $100 a month for preschool. So I was like, in 1 week, I made $150. It's so crazy. So then people in other states were like, can you mail them to me? And so I was like, okay, I'll put them in like giant envelopes. So I would like put them in big envelopes, mail them out. I like have vivid memories of like going to the post office with like bins of these and like scanning each one in individually. I was putting out my thing. And so that was like August, and I told Noah, I'm like, I think this is more than just COVID. Like, I think being a teacher and a mom, like I had this unique perspective that I don't think I realized not everyone had. Like, I kind of knew what my kids needed to know. I knew what activities to do, and there were moms that didn't. And so I told Noah, I'm like, I think we could do this like as a box. And Noah was like, yeah, you should do it. Noah was always trying to get me started business.
I'm always trying to get her to do something. She's got a brilliant mind, and she's a teacher. But yeah, I think August 2020, I set up an LLC because it looked like it was doing something, and made it into a box.
I was like, okay, I made it into a box. I'm like, that's way easier to ship.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it was like kind of like a preschool curriculum. And so I was doing it, and I had like a random person reach out to me and say like, hey, have you ever done any marketing with this or anything? And I'm like, no, I just like post about it on Instagram. And she's like, well, let me have a meeting with you. I had a call with her. She's like, really helped us with like our branding and our business like plan, because at this point I was just like guessing, you know?
You were kind of just giving people what they want.
Yeah, I was like, people like it. Yeah. And it was nice that it was like a subscription, because then the next month I'm like, okay, well, I paid for this month with last month. Like I could just keep it going. And they helped us create a business plan, and then I kind of thought like, I think it needs to be 20 activities. I think it needs to be simplified, because people are going back to school. People are going back to work. You don't need a full curriculum.
Sure.
And so we made it the box in 2021. And I feel like that's like my real start date, because that's kind of when we...
Yeah. I mean, they helped us legitimize the business and helped us kind of work out some kinks.
Yeah.
The branding.
Yeah, but it was like I was doing all of this during bedtime and naps.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was like...
And all the while you were then pregnant with
Goldie. and I was pregnant with my third at this time.
Yeah.
So it was like, I feel like I was never not doing something, and that it was chaotic, because I was like, okay, but I also have a problem where I can't not do things.
Sure,
so it's like pretty normal for me. But then I was like, no, this is too much. Like I got to quit. I would always tell Noah, like, I'm quitting. Yeah. I can't do this.
Yeah. And I'm working my day job, and I'm like, just hire someone else to help you out.
Yeah. Noah's like the best at being like, okay, just hire somebody.
Because I'd help her too, but it was different, right? I'd make sure the bills were paid, our warehouse was taken care of, and things that are different from what she was doing, like heading the whole business up. But
how much money did you guys make in that first, just like delivering packets? Do you guys remember what it was?
I think like my total that summer, I made like $1,000, and that was just like,
and you were
so crazy
pumped out of your mind.
I was so pumped.
You're like, that's 10% of my teacher salary.
It was literally 10% of my teacher salary.
Exactly.
No, because the first year I was a teacher, I was an intern. So I had my own class, and I made half salary of a teacher salary.
Oh, and she was grinding.
So what is that?
So it was $14,000, because at that point, $28,000 was a starting salary.
Yeah.
And I was in a class. I was teaching at a Title I school. I was the only, like, I didn't really have any support, and it was like,
yeah. I mean, the vice principal's sitting there with half her salary.
I was like, this is great, $1,000. Like, I've made it.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
When you said you sold 10 of them at $15, and you're like, this is incredible.
No, literally.
Like, whoa.
Well, and it was because it was like, we were like going around the kitchen island doing it together. Like I was like
late nights after
doing
the kids
like
are in
a
bed.
assembly line with Noah. Like, here's the packets, and at that point I was like cutting out the little squares for every. It was like.
Yeah, she was grinding.
But it was fun.
Like tedious work.
I remember I took one to an influencer that summer. Like I knew there was an influencer in our area. My boys like still bring this up to this day because. So I like dropped it off. My son was like 5. I made him run it up to her. And then she like came outside, which was like my worst nightmare. I like didn't want to see her in real life. So she came outside. I was like, thank you. And I was like, spread the word. And so anytime we like
our oldest son, Owen, he's 9. He brought it up to me last week. He's like, isn't that the place where mom said spread the word, and just started giggling.
Because I drove away and I was like, that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I called Noah. I'm like, I said spread the word. Like, what is wrong with me?
Hey, maybe she did though. I think
she actually did spread the word.
You got to find her. You got to find her again and say, hey, do you remember that time?
Spread the word.
Spread the word. It's like
yeah, we all have Michael Scott moments.
Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Or that high school boy that's trying to talk to the girl and he says something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it. I just relive it forever. I'm always like, spread the word.
Okay, so.
But at the beginning when you're a business owner, it's a little scary.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And I always was like.
Because you really don't know if people really want it.
No.
Like, even if you have some validation, you're like, I don't know.
Well, that was the first time you were even putting yourself out there to have someone possibly share about the product before everyone else was coming to you to
ask for it.
Yeah, because before it was like people wanted,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, if I want this to be something, I have to. And it was so hard because it's like such a. Like so personal to me, like I've created it. It's like, it was like putting a piece of me out there for people to criticize. And that was like so scary to me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know, one thing that you hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about is there's kind of this, like, there's two different ways that I hear entrepreneurs looking at starting their own thing. You have those people who are like, just go all in, quit what you're doing and just go for it. Right. And you'll grow so much faster. Mm-hmm. In your guys' case, you didn't really have to do that because Noah was working and had a good, stable job and he was paying the bills or whatever, right? Did you think that made it a lot easier for you to just be able to creatively figure out a way to build this and turn it into a business versus what if he would have come to you and said, I think you have something here. We just made $1,500 in a summer. Let's just I've got 6 months worth of savings. Let's go for it. You know, do you think that helped or do you think it would have made it quicker if Noah would have left?
I think it would have made it harder for me.
If I would have quit.
If you would have quit early.
Oh yeah, more pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I felt like for 2 years, even though I was like, technically I wasn't making any money, like I felt like there was no stakes in it, because I'm like, okay, everything's paid for the month before. I have employees that I can pay. And so I'm not like stressed, like, oh, I got to make this work.
Yeah.
But I was more in like, this is fun. I love doing this. This is exciting. And as we like prove the concept, I feel like that's when I started to be like, okay, maybe I could have Noah come work with me. But even that, like for so long was like really, really scary for me to think of because I didn't want the pressure.
Totally.
Like,
yeah, and there wasn't, you felt pressure. You're one that puts pressure on yourself because you want to make things exactly how you want them. But there wasn't pressure because I was working.
Sure.
Helping on the back end.
Yeah, we didn't stress like at all with that.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error and it ended up working.
I mean, I was working all hours, but
yeah.
other than that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to know what their personality is because some people work good. I think some people do their best work under pressure.
Yeah.
And other people don't. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like maybe you didn't like have this self-realization, but you kind of guided this journey based off of like, hey, you're not going to work well if there's too much pressure.
Yeah.
But by allowing it to grow naturally and also have like the safety of your job, it allowed you to thrive with the creative process and the brand building.
Yeah, because I think Noah knew that about me.
Yeah, I've known Kelsey since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know Kelsey really well. She's the stressor. I'm the one that can kind of massage things through and help her understand like this isn't that big of a deal.
Totally.
Like we don't need this income.
Sure.
So let's figure out how we're going to work this out. Let's make it work. And then if something comes of it, great. If not, we tried and it was fun.
Totally. It's a fun journey.
Yeah. Because I mean, there are a lot of times that I tell Noah I'm quitting.
Yeah, if I had to count on that, I mean, I'd probably say 20, 30 plus times.
Yeah.
One mean comment, I'm like, Noah.
After like the 10th time, I would just laugh.
Yeah.
Like literally to her. Like, that's funny.
But you were good at being like, Kelsey.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world that someone got the incorrect thing in there or whatever it was right at the time earlier. It was like something so small, but to her, it's like,
it's funny
it's
how
a huge deal.
It's funny how like those loud voices, even though there's only like one or two online, especially in those early,
they feel big.
Early days, right, where they like tear down your baby, you know.
Yeah.
When you only have 100 customers, right, and one of them's like, "You dummy," you're like, "What?"
Yeah, we had to take the customer service email access away from Kelsey pretty early.
That's pretty common.
She would go through it. I mean, she wasn't even the one responsible for responding to him. We always had someone else doing that, but she would like sneak in there and be like reading.
I like would guess
comments.
the password. Like, am I okay?
Like, no, in that regard,
How
no.
they say this about it?
Yeah. Noah's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm reading through all
Still to
the
this
mean emails.
day, she'll be telling me something that someone has said, and I'm like,
Just never go on Reddit.
the natural man of
that's what I
me
was
of
gonna
like
say.
trying to hurry and tell her why that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When really she just needs. I'm still working on that after 12 years of marriage. Like she doesn't want want to know how to fix it. She wants to just be heard.
For sure.
I still work on that
You're
as far
doing
as the
great.
customer
You're doing
service
better.
stuff.
Yeah, like Mark said, don't go to Reddit. Don't ever type your name in.
Of course,
Reddit.
why would I search my name on Reddit? What's wrong with me? There's nothing on there yet.
Have you searched?
Of course, like
I've thought about searching me. There's got to be
really?
something.
yes.
I recently searched a lot of people on there.
Did you search me?
Because I didn't know about it. There's
Well,
there's
I
like
think
a
I-
Utah influencer.
It is crazy. They
subthread
just let Reddit's rip apart
or
influencers.
subreddit,
Yeah,
and
like,
it was.
Just specifically to Utah entrepreneurs.
I don't know if it's.
I think it's
Utah.
just
Influencers. So
Influencers.
entrepreneurs, influencers, and
Okay.
I went
And
through
you
a whole
found some
list of
Utahns.
people, and I was.
Did you write my name? Our names?
No, I didn't.
Not yet.
Maybe I'm gonna do that after this.
but then like,
Maybe I should have, but I
should've.
searched a lot of people, and my jaw was for sure open.
yeah.
I was.
It's
floored.
crazy. People just get in the business of other people
Oh
like
my
it's
gosh.
like it is their business.
I was floored for two reasons. I like the information being spread about personal lives is like pretty wild.
Yeah.
So you're like, wow, that's crazy.
There's
but
nothing
then
off limits.
also that there's people that spend that much time
no, that's crazy.
posting
Caring
about it.
that and
Like,
posting
that's
it.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was like searching.
And then you just kind
and
of feel gross after, and you're like,
yeah,
ugh,
you're like, why did I?
need
And
to-
I'm like, why would I ever think that I would be on Reddit? Like
I need to get
I was
off.
like embarrassed. I'm like, okay, delete.
One day, we're gonna start a good Reddit thread
good
about
Reddit.
you guys. So no, what was the speaking of this? Okay, so we established it was easier to build the business without the pressure. I think for me,
Very much so, yeah.
that'd be. I've actually subscribed to that. Like, I think there was this kind of like. I think a lot of people on social media are like, "Oh, just quit," and like there's this big kind of idea around if you just quit and go all in, you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was almost a narrative. And then now you've had people who are coming out and saying, "There's nothing that will kill your business more than pressure of money. Like there's nothing that will make you make a more emotional decision than if you don't have, especially if you have a family, right? When you have to like feed your kids, you're not going to put the business first. You're going to say, okay, I got to go get a job or I got to do whatever. So I like the subscribing to this. Hey, find a way to take money off as a pressure point in order for you to grow and scale your business. But what was the straw that broke the camel's back to have you say, because I know for a while we were like, dude, you should quit. Like you guys are growing at unreal rates.
Yeah, well, we kind of missed that part of the journey, right? Is you've experienced massive growth,
Yeah.
right, over 2 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, 20x.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Well, I just looked at it. What it was like 1,000% growth from when we started working with these guys.
1,000.
1,000%.
Yeah, and you guys have our
well, sometimes I
permission.
read those and I'm like, is that right?
It was like 996%.
Yeah.
You guys have our permission to use this in a bestie promo ad if you'd like to. Because it's been crazy.
Yeah, you guys have crushed it. But that also comes with more pressure sometimes too, right? So I was going to ask, how did you handle the pressure of going from spending hundreds of dollars for ads to tens of thousands of dollars to multiple tens of thousands of dollars? How did that feel for you, and how did you manage that as a business owner?
What about my question with Noah? I had a question first.
I know, but your question comes after because then it's the growth.
Okay, well, I'll go this one first, then you'll remind me of that one. For me, I'm like, to a fault sometimes, I'm a logical thinker, which, I mean, for me, it was just like a mathematical calculation, right? Are we making more than we're spending, right? And if it is, and if the numbers are working out, then I can confidently continue to put more and more on that and know that we're going to get out of it what we want. So I didn't see that as pressure. I think that earlier when we were starting to spend on ads, it was like the first group we were working with. I think they were a little more nervous to say like, we can up it a little bit, but I think they were worried about what we would think.
Sure.
But I'm under the assumption like if it's working, let's keep.
Yeah, because at that time we still like, even when we started with you guys, Noah, you still had your full-time job. I feel like we were still doing so well that it was like not scary to us.
Like it just felt like gravy on the top, not the main course.
And like that we weren't like, I wasn't like pulling that much, it was kind of like, okay, let's just put it all back in. So when you guys were telling us like, okay, if you do more, you're going to make more sales. We're like, okay, let's do it, like, and like you said, like the pressure thing is so true. I didn't feel any like anxiety about that because it had been proven that it worked, I think if we had seen like a drop or like had not done well, that would have caused more anxiety. But like the fact that we were building this without any ads before, like we were, now it seems like little numbers. Like I did 171 boxes. I just showed Noah, I'm like the Post-it is on my wall from October 2022. I did 171 boxes and I thought like, that's so crazy. Like to
in
me,
1 month, it was 171.
And I was like, that.
How many boxes did you do last month?
We did 14,000 boxes.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, like every single little thing was like a huge win to me. So it was like, when you're saying, okay, well, let's do a little more and get more. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I think early on the concept was proven. And we talk about like the feedback we get from customers, the negative ones. But like, I think what drove Kelsey a lot was the positive feedback, the positive reinforcement, the pictures that moms would send of their kids doing the box. And I think that drove her to continue to do it and realize like that we actually have something here. So then putting more into ads and doing all that was all a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure.
What I love about your product too is, I don't want to say it seems obvious or it seems like, oh yeah, that could be a product, but it's one like I love the types of products that just seem like overlooked for so long, or just like for some reason no one's like did it.
Yeah,
because it provides such a need for so many moms out there, right? I think there's a lot of moms, even moms who might even have educational backgrounds like your wife, right? They know they need to be doing certain things. They know they need to fill up the time. They don't want their kids on screens all the time, but the planning is such an effort.
The time it takes to do all
just the planning, right? Like the materials are one thing, but it's the planning, sitting down, trying to come up with a game plan for the month of like these types of activities. And then you've just provided this awesome product for these moms to just, it's already pre-made. It's already thought out. Like you've done all the work thinking about the educational experience and making it fun and useful. But it's something that, you could theoretically go do yourself.
Oh yeah.
So I think a lot of people, maybe they're like, oh, that's not worth doing a business over.
Yeah.
And we've seen people in the comments sometimes say, well, why would I spend this when I can just go to Hobby Lobby and get this and that? I mean, they're not our target market if they're trying to save $15 to do it.
Sure.
We're offering a convenient item.
Is it worth your time?
But you won't.
Correct. And have so much excess because they're not selling it in.
Well, and I kind of feel like, especially like millennial moms, we've been through like this huge like TikTok, Instagram, where they're just like serving us so much info, and you're like watching a video thinking, okay, I need to be doing that with my kids. How do I do that with my kids? But then it's like the 5 other steps you have to take to do those things with your kids is so hard. And we also feel like so much mom guilt by not, you know? And so one thing that I hear a lot from moms.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah. Is like people say, I don't feel guilty now because I feel like I did one, as simple as it is, I did this little thing with them and it's like taking the mom guilt away because I'm getting this interaction. And I think that's like my biggest thing about these boxes is moms and dads are getting like parent connection with their kids, and they're getting to sit down and work with them one-on-one and like because it's not like a box that you just pass them and they do.
Sure.
You know, it's a box that you sit and you do together. And whether it's 5 minutes or 15 minutes, it's like something that they're going to remember and something that's going to stick with them.
Totally. One question I had that you might have maybe just answered right there was there something you did, whether it was the product or how you marketed it or how you built it, that surprisingly became a bigger impact on the business that you had no idea was going to be an impact on the business? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm asking that kind of weird.
I mean, I don't know what you would say, but I think listening to our customers, I mean, the concept of what Kelsey produced was, I don't know if I'm saying this wrong, but like preschool in a box initially. Yeah. But then you had moms reach out and say, okay, what do I do with my younger kid? So I don't know if that's where you're going with this, but like listening to our customers, and now our most popular product is something that came out of listening to our customer.
Sure. Yeah, because we wouldn't have done the toddler box.
Right.
Had I not, and then that's our best seller now.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like double what we do for preschool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love what you had said about like she also, you know, you said something about guilt, like mom guilt. Like, I don't know if that was a
no, and I didn't
rationale around you building the product, but all of a sudden it was like, that makes a ton of sense when you say that. I'm like, oh yeah, like moms are constantly beating themselves up for so not bad. Doing enough.
Well, and social media makes it worse because everyone feels like they're not doing enough.
Yeah, and you watch like a 30-second clip of someone's like day in the life, and you're like, oh my gosh, she did this with her kids, she fed them this, she did the, and you're just thinking,
and her
like,
house looks this way,
like, wow,
she made granola from scratch.
No, literally, and I'm like, well, I can't even like get these kids to eat chicken nuggets. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but. And then like, as I built it, kind of, this probably answers a little bit more too, is like, I realized as a teacher, one of the things that I knew was like, if I'm giving them attention, if I'm giving them positive reinforcement, they're going to behave better for me. So if I have a good relationship with these kids, my classroom management is going to be better, everything. And I see that so much in motherhood too. If I give my kids even 15 minutes of undivided attention, like, you're hedging off tantrums for the rest of the day.
Sure.
You know, and so giving your kids, like, if they know every day I get to do an activity with my mom that's 10 minutes, you're getting like, your kid's going to behave better just because they know they're getting that time with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And as a stay-at-home mom, you're with your kids all day long. So you feel like I'm getting this time with them. I'm doing this stuff with them, but like, okay, I'm doing laundry while they're playing right next to me. I'm trying to pick up while they're doing. So this is something that you're doing with them, for them, and getting to like be in their world. Kind of.
And for working moms, it gives them an opportunity to come home and do a quick activity with their kid.
Without having to think.
Without having to like, oh, I got to pre-plan. And,
I don't have the time for
it
or whatever.
Like you've been at work all day and you're like, that's hard. Being at work, trying to like jump back and forth. So like you said, it services these people and, you know, dads too, I'm sure get involved.
Yeah.
But the data says it's mostly.
We love dads too.
What I love about, this is something we've kind of been talking a little bit more about on the podcast. You know, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was very bullish on the product was everything when it came to like running a successful business, you know. But what I've come to realize, not that that's not true. The product is everything too, you know, in a way. Because if you don't have a good product, it's not going to win for you. But then the more I've studied other businesses, the more I've realized that it's so much more. The most important thing is the audience that you're serving. It's not necessarily the product. Yes, the product is a subcategory to making that work. But like I was looking at, have you heard of?
Can I push back on you a little bit? Just to clarify what you're saying.
Yes, please.
I think what you're saying in my, like how I'm understanding it is the product doesn't have to be this brand new sparkly idea that no one's ever thought of.
Exactly. This super innovative, challenging, you know, like Tesla, for example, that did something so different and new, right? It doesn't have to be that way, but I think a lot of us think about that, right? But the brand that comes to my mind is the, what's the dad cap company? Why can't
Dad Gang?
Dad Gang.
I see those everywhere, yeah.
Yes, we're wearing 3 different hats.
And we're not wearing
right
Dad
now,
Gang, what the heck?
Right? But these guys have sold millions and millions of dollars worth of hats because they are servicing a very, very particular audience, which is new dads.
And then Southern String hat.
Very similar. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. Like the working man.
The working man hat.
Yeah.
Like the Southern dude demographic.
Yeah. It's like.
Led by, what's his name? Richie?
I don't know what his last name is, but it's Richie. Yeah.
Like Richie 250, I think.
Okay. Yeah. He's like an
Shout out Richie.
excavator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just is a guy that like represents 9-to-5ers, you know?
Nice.
And like
the hard hat guys.
Yeah. The beauty and like blue collar 9-to-5 work and
trade.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're crushing it, you know? And you guys did the same thing. It's like moms, there's all these things. Like we love the mom audience because there's like, moms are the most grindy people in the entire world, right? They're the people who get like, who do all the work and get none of the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And they like live with that, you know? And so we like such an awesome demographic when you can serve them. So I think that's
because if you can nail a product that actually serves a mom, like you can really grow fast.
Yeah.
Now there's a TAM equation here too, right?
Sure.
Like there's a total addressable market and obtainable market. But like you said, I love that you noticed that it was servicing moms in a way that got rid of their mom guilt in the day.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that.
That's really fascinating.
This episode of The Unstoppable Marketer is brought to you by BFF Creative. Let's be real, hiring designers and video editors can get super expensive. And that's why I'm excited about what BFF Creative has done. They've built a subscription design service that gives you the feel of an in-house creative team, but at a fraction of the cost, which I'm sure we all could use right now. From ad creatives to social media posts, video edits to full website designs, BFF gives you unlimited designs and unlimited requests starting at just $1,000 a month. The best part about this, their custom app makes it super easy to submit projects, give feedback, review work, and store all of your creative in one place. As a listener of the podcast, you get 25% off your first 2 months with code UNSTOPPABLE25. That means unlimited creative for as little as $750 a month. Go check them out right now at bffcreative.co.
I have moms that will like message me. I've had quite a few that are postpartum, and they say like, I'm so grateful for this because I feel so guilty with, again, the mom guilt, but I feel guilty with my older one. You know, when you have your second baby and you're like, this older one, their whole world was me. And now I have this baby. And so it's so nice. Like I use this in my house. Like when I had my first daughter, Goldie, she was a newborn. My older one, Harvey, I would put Goldie down for a nap and I would do an activity with Harvey.
Yeah.
And he would just say every day, when's our activity? When's our activity? And it's like, it was so simple, but like it just made me feel like a better mom because I felt like I'm doing something that I know is educational, that I know is hands-on. A lot of people are like, just play with your kids. That's like a common comment that I get on Facebook. Like, you just need to play with your kids. You don't need to do stuff with them. And like, that's true. Playing with your kids is important, but I'm also like a mom that has to have some structure. Like, I don't know if you realize I'm a little type A. Like I have to have some sort of structure. And I also want to help my kids grow. I want to get them educational things. So yeah, I let them free play. Yeah, we do blocks, but like sometimes I'm tapped out on a block tower, you know, like in the nicest way. Like I want to do letters. I want to. So it kind of gave me a way to do something fun in the as a mom that I enjoy too.
And checks those boxes off.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you can, like, it is as a parent, I mean, I've got 3 kids. Like there's no better victory in life than when your kid chooses not to be on a screen and chooses to either be outside or be doing, like, you know what I mean? Like there's just no better victory. Like once we see our kids like walk outside, I'm like,
we did it
outside. And we're not screen people. So like, we're not just like freely letting, you know, like we're pretty strict about it, but they always want it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So yeah.
Who doesn't? I mean, everyone does.
Big time parenting win when your kids are not on screens. So, okay. So back to my question. Noah, what was the straw that breaks the camel's back to have you say, let's, because I remember you were like, I got like 2 more years of this, dude.
Yeah, he kept telling me 2 more years.
I don't know if it was, I mean, we were doing well. You guys helped us really sell our product in a way that made me more confident. I mean, at some point it just becomes a numbers game of, I'm not a very risky guy, especially when you mentioned earlier, like you got kids to take care of, mortgage to pay, right? Yeah. So it just became a numbers game of like, okay, I've heard a lot of people say like, once you've once you're doing like 75% of what you're bringing in on your day job, that's a great time to quit. But everyone's a little bit different, right?
Sure.
I'm not a very risky guy, so it was definitely more than that. So
yeah, I would say you'd need to be doing 150.
Yeah, that's kind of at least where I was.
You got to be 50% more than what you're doing at your day job.
Yeah.
Because, there is volatility there.
Flows, yeah.
For sure. So it was really just that, and just seeing how well we were doing month over month over a course of a year.
Yeah.
And then that continued growth. So it was really that. I loved my job. I was a sales manager in healthcare.
Yeah.
Worked in home health and hospice. Loved my team. And a lot of that too was, I'm a pretty loyal person.
Yeah.
So, didn't love the idea of leaving my team when we were doing some cool things, but at the same time, I loved coming home and working with Kelsey too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I knew how big of a deal it was for me to eventually quit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know the story of how, you guys know this, but like I kept kicking the can down the road, telling her, well, like maybe,
Noah.
Yeah. So last like October, I told her, I'm thinking maybe next summer, I'll quit, and that kind of.
And I was like drowning, so I'm like,
like it's too big now. I cannot do this alone.
So, and I actually knew that I was going to quit pretty soon.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've known Kelsey since I was 13. I've learned to tease her pretty good, but she didn't know I was teasing her in this case, and I was just like pissing her off because
I'm actually shocked that you stayed with your secret, because I was pretty mean. Like I was like,
oh yeah, I was taking it on the chin. She's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't know if you said these words, but like, you just got to man up and do it.
I
could actually, that probably was a quote.
Baby and quit.
So, and I was just taking it on the chin. Like, I'm playing the long game
just
here.
Taking some emotional
I've never been able to really surprise her.
Noah has never surprised me this good.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to top it, but I mean, to the outside world, maybe this isn't that crazy, but to me and us, this was like a big surprise. So anyways, I kept kind of playing that game with her. Like, well, this is going on at work. They're doing this now. We're opening up this branch. And so anyways, I would tell her that a lot. And then I told my boss in November that I would December would be my last month. I was giving him my 6 weeks notice or whatever. Anyways, I handled that, and I didn't tell Kelsey until I wrapped a gift for her and opened it up. She opened it up on Christmas, and I think she thought that I was going to, it was me quitting in the future. And I already worked my last day. So
you had no idea.
I had no idea.
She had no idea.
So I opened it and it said, I quit. It was like a business card with Noah's name on it for Learning with Kelsey. And it said, I quit. And I was like, okay. I was like, so when? I thought he was like saying he was going to quit. And then he's like, no, I already quit. I'm done. And I was like, what? It was the best surprise ever, because I feel like that was a point where I was like at a level 1000. Like there were so many things happening. There's so many things with the business that
when you go from 100 boxes to 14,000.
Your November was the best. It was
ever.
It was crazy. It was a crazy time to tell her I'm not quitting yet.
Yeah.
I just had Archie, right? Or no, it was before I had Archie, or it was after? No, it was a year after I had Archie, so Archie was 1. But still. Because it was just barely. You just barely quit.
Yeah, it was.
Feels like I've been working with you forever, Noah.
I quit.
We knew like 2 weeks before you did.
Yeah, I told them.
That's true. We do.
We were like so stoked.
We kept it a secret.
It. My wife knew. She was like,
because I kept telling you
pumped about it.
My only goal is to get Noah to quit his job.
And we said the same thing when we came out and visited you. We're like, our goal is to get this guy to quit. And I think Alex MacArthur, didn't he say the same thing?
Alex said the same thing.
Alex said the same thing. But even when I was like saying that, I think it felt like so far in the distance. Like it even still feels crazy that I've like made a business out of these boxes.
Yeah, I mean it's absurd to think about. I mean, every time Kelsey was pregnant, bringing it back to motherhood, that 9 months for me always flew by. I know for moms that takes forever, but like
don't say that.
I'm just like in a mode where it's like head down, go to work, and then all of a sudden the baby's here. And then for this business, it's been like the same thing. We sold 171 boxes in 1 month. Now we did what we did last month, and it's just crazy. So. For her always asking me to quit, I was just like, okay, one of these days I will. One of these days.
Yeah.
And then when I finally did it was great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you all right with me still not having?
I love it. I love it.
What's the thing you guys? What's the funnest thing about working together, and what's the thing that's the hardest thing about working together?
Would you want to do which one?
I mean, the funnest thing is just, I don't know. We've had to adjust to me specifically, like. Working from home is hard. Like when the kids are in school, it's a lot easier. Yeah. But like when we're up here for the summer, it's harder because like the kids are just always around. I could always be doing something with them. Maybe that's dad guilt, maybe.
It is.
But
we call that dad tax.
Dad tax, yeah, that's good. I'd use that one for food typically.
Yeah,
give them my dad tax. But just blocking my time, making sure I'm as organized as I was, like in my day job. That's the hardest
part, you're saying.
That's the hardest part. Yeah. Funnest part is just being around my family all day. Right?
Yeah, we just get to hang out all day. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Noah and I are like, I mean, we've known each other since we're 14, but like, we just like to hang out together. So it's like, it's nice that we just get to hang out all day. I feel like the hardest part for me is like when I have to explain things to Noah, like, because he knows the business from like the outside, but there's so many things that I've done on the inside that when he asks a question, I'm like, okay, so you think I did that wrong? You know, like, he's just simply asking, like, why do you do that? I'm like, okay, so you hate it? Like, let me.
Yeah, in the first, like, I mean, January when I came on full time, it was a lot of like me going down the warehouse, just kind of auditing, observing the process to see, not like to say, hey, this
you're doing all the financials
sucks,
before, right?
Yeah. Just kind of on the back end. But like, I was going on there to learn it, to see if there's anything that I could see from an outsider's perspective, because that's what I was really, to see if we could tweak anything. There wasn't much to tweak.
Yeah.
We tweaked some things, but like when I would bring that stuff to Kelsey, this is her baby, right?
Yeah, you call
so
the baby
it's like,
ugly.
I can understand why she'd think like, well, why are you questioning this? Like we've been doing this for
Why'd you choose that shirt for your baby today?
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
You know, that happens all the time. Like in the corporate world, you know, when you hire somebody on, there's always that person who comes in and they just start asking the questions, and everyone takes it very defensive.
Oh, it's so
right.
hard.
But it's not that at all. The person just like, hey, I don't know.
Literally doesn't know.
I'm trying to learn
why
here.
do you ship this way? And I'm asking out of pure curiosity, not out of this is stupid. Why aren't you doing it this way? You know.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew enough to get by, but like the specifics on certain processes that we had going was like, I need to understand this better.
We have two girls at work we work really closely with. One's the director of operations for us and one runs our warehouse. And they're really good about like explaining it to Noah, talking Noah through. And like I'll sit down on a meeting afterwards. I'm like, sorry, I was so mean to Noah. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, those two are really nice.
And they're like, no, you're doing great. You guys are doing great. Like, sorry, it's just like, why is he asking that? And like, I think he just wants to know.
Yeah.
Well, I think having an outside perspective is pretty invaluable, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like with the rise of like therapists for personal lives, I'm surprised that so many people in the business world like think consultants like can't provide value.
Yeah.
Because
consultants are essentially
they're a therapist for your company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're not going to come fix your whole company, but it's so nice to have somebody come in from an outside view and say, oh yeah, like, why are you doing it that way? It's like, I don't know. That's just how we did it.
That's how we started doing it and kept doing it.
Made sense at the time. Like, is it wrong?
Yeah.
Well, and I think like one thing that's helped me specifically be successful with this is that I didn't ever think of myself as like an entrepreneur. I didn't think I knew business. Like I still don't think I am no business. It's hard for me to say I'm an entrepreneur. And so when something comes up that I don't know, I'm like always, anyone tell me what to do. Yeah. You know, like I'm not afraid to ask someone to look it up I feel like everyone knows more than me with this. So I think that really helped us in a way. Like I'm like, okay, I want boxes. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to ask people that have done boxes. They told me. And so I never felt like I was all knowing, you know, where sometimes I feel like if you go into it planning a business, you feel like I know what to do. I should know what to do. I kind of just always assumed I was like dumb. Like I'm learning with Kelsey this whole time. Like I'm just trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah. I think the number one attribute of an entrepreneur is curiosity.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because you don't have any preconceived ideas of what's supposed to work. Mm-hmm. Like you kind of have vague understandings, but you're just curious. Like, oh, I want to know how do you do this? Like, how did you make it work? How does this happen?
Yeah.
Rather than thinking you know it all.
Yeah.
And maintaining that curiosity.
And maintaining that curiosity.
Because once you get to a point where you feel like you're successful, that doesn't mean that your process is perfect.
You nailed it on the head. One of the biggest killers of the most successful entrepreneurs, the people who are like the darlings that we talk about them, the Utah darlings, the ones that were skyrocketing the same way you guys are skyrocketing, the people all of a sudden start to feel like they know exactly what they're doing. And so they stop being curious and they start just doing the same things over and over again. And then all of a sudden you start seeing those businesses go. I mean, dozens. We won't name them, but we could name them internally.
Well, they start following the playbooks of like a Nike.
Yeah.
Or Apple. And it's like, you're not
when you're
that
not there
thing.
yet.
No.
Yeah. It's
Like you don't have
crazy.
a technological advantage. You don't have a, unique IP. Like it's people are following you or want your product because of this specific audience or this specific need that's being serviced. So you don't have to get that business oriented. Like you don't have to be so rigid about it. Like you're not a Fortune 500.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that starts to happen too is as you get bigger, you're going to start to have people who are going to start to copy you and do exactly what you're doing. You've probably already seen it, right?
You get all scared.
And then what happens is you guys stop playing the curiosity playbook and they start to be more curious than you. And they start to overtake you. It happens. It will happen if you don't, right? And that's one of the things that we've loved about working with you guys. You said it, right? Like you guys always seem to be hiring somebody to come in and just look at things. Yeah. And I love that about you guys. You guys understand what you're good at and what you maybe not that you're bad at it, but it's not just your strongest attribute. And so you're like, hey, let's bring somebody in and sure, it might cost us more money than I want to spend, but if they could answer one question for us, it's worth it, So I've loved that. We've loved that about you guys. We've said that all the time. Like these guys they just get it, right? They get what they're good at and they understand what they're not the best
I think
at.
a lot of that's because of what you just said. Like you don't consider yourself an entrepreneur, so you don't have this identity wrapped up in like what you're supposed to know.
Yeah. I still feel like I have no idea about business, I'm like, I think Noah, that's like to his credit, he's the one that like told me just hire someone for that. Just hire someone for that. And so that I think that is why we were able to get where we were, because he's like, well, if you don't want to do it or you don't know how to do it, let's hire somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how we found you guys.
Easy peasy. Just hire people.
Yeah.
You got to hire the right people, but.
Oh, for sure.
So so you guys have been working with each other. Obviously you've been working with each other for a while, but full time for the last 6-7 months. Best advice you have for people who are running businesses together, couples?
I love that we've started to plan our weeks. Like when you're running a business as a couple and you have kids, especially, like you could go through a week and feel like you got nothing done if you don't plan properly, and you'll have the guilt of the business owner. Like I needed to get those 8 things done and I did one thing. Yeah. So just planning and prepping weeks ahead of time and just kind of knowing each other's schedules, giving the other person enough time to kind of get stuff done. And that's the thing I love about it is, right, I can take the kids for 3 hours, let Kelsey knock out some stuff, and then she can do that vice versa. Yeah. What other advice would you give?
Yeah, what do you got for us?
I think that's been big for us, right? The planning of our weeks.
Yeah, I think also like staying in your lane of what you're good at is really helpful. Like sometimes Noah and I will talk about something and I'm like, I can't know about that. Like that's gonna send me into stress mode. Like you just have to handle that. So like Noah knows the things that are just Noah's gonna handle.
Yeah, I'll handle with the team.
Like, and then he'll handle with the team, which has been so nice because I felt like before my hand was in every single thing. Yeah. And then that's where I felt like so burnt out or so like I couldn't create anything new because I was like worrying about our paint staining something or like, like something small, but like things like that. So if I know, now I know I have someone that I trust 100% taking care of that. Yeah. That's been like life changing for me. So I think knowing what you're going to be in charge of, knowing what Noah's going to be in charge of, there's obviously so many things that we talk about together. Like we're constantly talking about our business, but it's nice to have certain things that we don't have to cross paths on.
Yeah. Super cool.
And just taking time for, like, we'll go out every weekend. Good. And a lot of times we're talking about the business, but it's like, we don't make it too serious, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would think that's hard. You know, my wife and I don't work together the way Mark and I work together, but like she's the silent partner. And even us now, like I'm like, I don't need to be talking about what I'm doing all the time, you know? And so we've kind of started to set boundaries, even though she's not a part of the day-to-day business. So I think even with spouses that are supporting you, maybe not in a full-time role, I think that's really good advice as well.
I have a question for you, Kelsey, before we wrap it up. As an educator, I think you touched on this earlier, right? About the importance of play and structure. I think a lot of people do their best work when they're playing, which is curiosity, right? Yeah. Playing is just curiosity in action. So how do you maintain a playful mindset when you're working on your business?
I feel like for me, the best thing has been that I have kids that are these ages, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like doing different things with them, playing with them. And then in like the actual business, being able to separate myself, like having Noah come on, I think has been the best thing for that mindset, because I got to a point where I was like not ever able to be curious or not ever able to really be creative because I was so busy doing all these things that had to be done. So letting that go and having time where I can just like sit and think about the things that I like to do, do things that are creative for me. Like for me, I love creating like the activities. I love coming up with the activities. So I kind of was doing the same ones every single month the last year, like month after month. Like September last year was the same as September this year. But now that I've had time to like really think about it, I'm like, okay, I actually don't like that activity as much. I like this better. And so giving myself time to just sit down and think by myself and do those things is, I think, what helped me be creative and playful.
Awesome.
I
think moms would really appreciate knowing that too.
Yeah.
That you still think actively about these things every day.
Oh yeah. And then sometimes like I'll pull out an activity to do with my kids and I'm like, ugh, this is not a good one, you know? Or like it was not as fun as I thought it was gonna be, or like it was way messier than I thought. And so doing these activities with my kids has been so helpful. And I taught preschool this year.
Right.
I like added just a little preschool class for my...
She takes on way too much.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned that to you guys 100 times, but of course she taught a preschool class, and she's already planning to teach our youngest Archie in 2 years.
Yeah, but I taught all the other kids, so I have to.
I know.
Yeah, you feel left out.
You can't
leave them out.
You feel left out, dude. Come on.
So I taught a 3-year-old preschool class this year with like 8 of my friends' little girls, and we had 1 little boy, but it was so fun because I got to like get down and be the teacher again and do these activities and like play with them and come up with new ideas. And I think that was really, really good for me.
That's super, super cool. Well, my daughter's 6 and she loves her box. Like,
I'm so happy.
She loves it because she gets like, it's a package for her. Like that comes
kids,
for her.
Kids,
so kids don't get mail.
No.
Yeah, it is hers. Yeah.
To get a box with your name on it, it's
so
exciting.
when it comes, I'm like, you know, in my office, I have like a bay window that so like when a package gets dropped off, I see it. So I can like see what it is. And I'm like,
she's going to be stoked.
Roma, there's somebody at the door for you. And she's like, what? You know, so she loves it and she'll do it with like her friends. She's to the point now where like, my wife will do it with her sometimes, but she'll just
she
do
can
it
do
all
it by
by
herself.
herself. Yeah, my wife will have to kind of sometimes spell some things out for her, you know, but for the most part, she does all of it by herself with her friends. She does make our craft room an absolute mess.
Does she have the
She has
craftivity box?
craftivity box.
Nice, that's good. That's one where you're a little older, you can get after that one.
Well, and like that kind of reminded me when you were saying like what's something that you didn't realize was going to be a big deal? Our boxes.
Yeah.
Like our printed boxes, when I did that in the beginning, it was just like, oh, because it's cute.
Yeah.
But now it is like such a huge deal to people. If they don't get a sprinkle box, they're so sad. And now when you're saying this, like I realize why it's so important.
It's the kids, it's not the parent.
Because they're getting to see a box that's fun. They know what the box is. Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be a cool thing for you guys. I know it adds an extra step, but like if you like wrote the kid's name on it or something like that, and big like that could be kind of fun.
We
love it.
We had an issue, was it 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Our sprinkled branded boxes didn't come in time. So we had to ship like 2,000 or 1,500 that were like just white, non-branded.
5,000.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
But like people, when we've had to do that a long time ago, they were not happy.
Yeah.
Like they would complain like, why didn't I get this like branded box? But this time we kind of turned it into a win and created a contest of like if we put markers in the box too, and they would design their Learning with Kelsey box, and we picked like 3 winners for a 3-month subscription.
Yeah, so we said,
sweet.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, so
that's really good.
And that was actually like our team members. Again, like building a team is so important. Like I was sitting outside dance class with my sister.
Stressing about it.
Of course. My sister and the director of operations were sitting outside, our girls and I were dancing. I'm like, what are we going to do? People are going to be so mad. And she's like, well, what if we just sent markers and let them decorate their box? And my sister's like, yeah, 'cause she runs my social media. And she's like, well, what if it was a contest? And like you picked the best winner, the best decorated box, and they got a 3-month subscription. And I was like, genius. So we put a little note in there. We put the markers, and then we got like the cutest submissions of kids like decorating their box.
It was awesome.
We got one where she said like, this might not look like the coolest box, but it's really special to us because it's the first time she wrote H, which is the first letter of her name on the box. So I'm like, it's like so simple, but it was so cool. And
that's something you should probably do more often. That's
I know. It's like, wow, that was.
Have you thought about maybe like doing a limited edition box design for the winner.
That would be cute.
That would be awesome.
Like with their design on the box.
Yes, like that's your limited edition, maybe 500 boxes.
See, this is why you need people.
Some of those shirts maybe for the parents.
Yeah,
so cute.
Be kind of cool.
That would be sweet. Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I love that.
So we turned a loss into a win.
Yeah,
that's a big time lemonade moment.
Yeah, we didn't know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, great team with great ideas behind us.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Fun.
Where can people find Learning with Kelsey?
You can find us on Instagram or TikTok at Learning with Kelsey, and then learningwithkelsey.com.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Noah. Thank you, Kelsey. This has been great. All right, guys. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Go check out learningwithkelsey.com, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. Please go rate and subscribe the podcast, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear from you because we always want to make this podcast better. If you want to get in touch with me or give me any direct feedback, please go follow me and get in touch with me. I am at the Trevor Crump on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we will see you next week.